this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful sort of silvery and glittery card using the new JND397 Leaping Stag die set. And that's the only set we use to make this. So it's quite a simple and cost-effective card. So this is the die set, the Leaping Stag, and in here you get this beautiful outside line, as all my dies have separate outside lines so they can be cut into card. And this gives you a stitch detail all the way around. So if I bring in a piece of silver I've already cut, you can see here you've got that beautiful stitch detail all the way around, which just adds a real class to the card and the project. Then you get the insert, and this will just cut into the card, and this cuts you this beautiful set of 4 leaping stags with a beautiful sort of royal, like a crown corner. But if you look carefully, you'll see it actually follows almost a circle as well, so it works beautifully with the JND, and I've forgotten the code entirely, JND396, which is the one before, which is the Leaping Stag circle. You get an inside line, which again cuts you a beautiful panel to go on top, again with that stitch detail, so you can see that on there. And then you get 2 of these stags with the snowflakes around them, which are what holding the stags in place, and are the snowflake that I've used across this year and over previous years so that everything ties together. And you get 2 sizes, a sort of medium and a small, as there was a larger one in my collection 4 years ago. So many people asked for it back that I decided to bring it back, but in 2 different sizes. So this is the card, or this is the die set we're going to use. So we're going to start, and I've already cut a panel of silver mirror card with the outside line. Really very simple, but we get that beautiful sort of dotted stitch detail on there. And because I don't want to damage the mirror card, and I also want to make sure it cuts well and it pops out very, very easily, because this is very delicate, I'm going to add a little piece of wax paper onto the center, and then I'm simply going to add the outside die from the stags onto this. Get this nice and even across there, and then we simply need to tape this down. You may find it easier to tape this to your actual boards because of the sizing. And I wouldn't try and cut both dies together. I would cut the panel first. And the reason is, as we've said on the packaging with this one, it's a very detailed and delicate die, possibly the most delicate that we've done. And you will find that it may need a metal shim. We've tested in different machines, and different machines have different pressures. So to get a lovely clean cut, you may need to use a shim on this one, but I'd rather tell you that at the beginning. And then we simply take that and we run it through our die cutting machine. Now I am going to run this through so that you can actually see the primary cut we've got. So I'm going through my A5 Kaleido machine, which doesn't need a shim for this die. And this has just gone forward and back, and we turn that over. Can you see there? All of these sections have cut, but these sections that haven't gone down the side have not cut. So we're simply going to make sure it stays in place, back down onto the plate. We've rotated it by 45 degrees, and we just run it through again to make sure that that second side gets a nice long drag down and gets a beautiful cut. So again, I'm taking it forward and back in my machine. Sorry, all you're seeing is my elbow, just to make sure that we go forward and back. And you can see there now, all those sections have cut out. I can simply drop that off, and you can see I get very few marks on my mirror card. And I can simply start to just take those pieces out. I'm not going to pull all the pieces out, as that makes for a very boring sort of video, but you just want to take a little bit of time and get all of those little pieces out perfectly. So really nice and simple. So I have a piece that I've already cut. So here's one I've already cut and taken all the pieces out of. And all we need to do is to cut a panel of white card, and I'm using Coconut White Crafts 2 Essential card, to the same size. So you can use the die, or you can use your paper trimmer or guillotine, and this is just over 5 inches. So if you cut a panel to 5 inches by 5 inches, it will fit absolutely perfectly and not pop out of the side. So sometimes that makes it a little easier. So I'm just going to cut this to 5 inches by 5 inches. The actual die cut is 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. I can then add a little bit of spray glue onto the back, and I'm using Craft Mount by 3M. Place it face down and place your card over. That way you can check that nothing's showing through on the 4 sides. And there we have our beautiful finished piece that's against the white. So what I've done next, I've cut a panel of card slightly bigger. So we'll take that and we'll take the measurements. So that is 5 1/8. So we've cut a piece of card here, and I'll check the measurements to 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 inches. And all I've done is run glue around the outside line, and this has been shown in other videos. So I've run glue around the outside line. I will show you with the smaller piece. And I've added the Craft Artist CAT118 Crystal Snow onto this, which just is the most beautiful glitter. As it's not a glittery glitter, but the reflections you get from that are just stunning. And all we're going to do is mount that onto a piece of silver card that's cut slightly bigger. So this has been cut out to 5 5/8. So we get that lovely little silver edge on the side of it. And again, I've got a piece here that's already been done and foam mounted. So I'm just going to take off the foam and I'm going to add that onto the piece. And I've made a card blank here is 7 by 7. So it's a 7" by 7" card blank, and I've matted that with a piece of coconut white at 6 1/8, and then matted it with a piece of silver at 6 1/4, just so it fits absolutely perfectly. And we're going to evenly pop our square into the center. We then take our piece that we've actually cut and made, and I'll just find the right piece. There we go. And again, I've added a little bit of foam tape onto here, just to add a little bit more dimension above this glitter. So it makes it look like it's got a glitter border that's just sort of floating all the way around it. It's just so delicate but so pretty. So we mount that into the center of there, and you can see there you've got that beautiful shine but that glitter. So we want to put the central panel in, and I will show you how we glitter these pieces. So I've cut a central panel out here using the little sort of stitch dotted die from the set, and all I'm going to use using my fine tip glue applicator is run glue quite roughly, it doesn't have to be precise, all the way around all 4 of those edges. And because the glitter is so chunky, it doesn't need to be neat. You're not trying to get a neat line because it's clear. You'll just see the glitter stuck. So we pop that down, and then I've got a piece of card here just to collect the spare, and I'm using, as I said, the Crystal Snow. I've decanted mine into a pot, so I just take it and glitter each of the 4 sides. Nice and simple, and there we get that beautiful glittery look. And we just pop that to one side to dry, and it takes between 10 minutes and 30 minutes depending on the glue you use and the temperature in your sort of house or craft room at that time. So we put the excess back, we pour that away. I'm simply going to bring back in my card, and again, here's one I've already got done that's dry. So I'm going to peel off the tape and simply add that into the center. So again, you can see it's got that beautiful offset. So again, we're echoing the glitter over the silver all the way through. And then I've simply cut one of the stags. This is the larger stag's head. We could add a sentiment and things in there, but again, just in the silver metallic card, a little bit of foam tape on the back, and I'm simply going to pop that in the center to follow through. So really easy, really clean. And you can add more glitter or crystals, or you could add stick-on pearls. I'm going to use the Craft Artist Pearl Dimension in silver on this. So I'm just going to check that it's flowing okay. And I'm simply going to add a little dot on each of those 3 little snowflakes, and then 1 on each of those 4 snowflakes in the centre, and move the card rather than yourself. And then I'm going to add a little dot just to balance it in the centre of this sort of crown type thing each corner. Again, just so we're pulling the colour to the sides. And there we go. So very simple, very effective. We'd leave this aside to dry again for about half an hour. So it takes about half an hour for them to be touch dry and about 24 hours before they're completely dry and can take the pressure. So I would leave it before putting into an envelope for at least a day. But there we have a very simple yet effective card using the JND397 Leaping Stag die set. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John Next Door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.